everybody. I'm doing a session for a client, so I'm going to be sharing psychic wisdom and energy healing. If any of you are interested in booking a session with me, please come visit me at my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. All right, thank you so much for the opportunity to connect with you today. Thank you so much for sharing here on YouTube. Okay, so let me read your goals and I'm going to get started. You say, I would like to ask my guides for guidance and how to heal myself. Love and light. Connecting with guides for guidance, any kind of guidance, and how to heal yourself. Okay. All right. I can't wait to see what comes up. Here we go. All right, so I'm walking up some stairs and it's kind of a narrow staircase. And I feel like I'm leaning towards the left, almost like the stairs go straight up, but somehow they're kind of going towards the left. And the left of my vision is also got almost like it's contained, like I can see the wall and the ceiling is pretty low, but there's nothing on the right side. So the right side is open and the left side is got containment, okay? So let's see. And you want to have balance on both the right and the left sides. And you don't want to feel contained. You want to feel open and free. In fact, you want to get rid of the staircase itself. You want to get rid of all illusions or ideas of basically the physical mind. And you want to experience life as it truly is, energetically, really. You've got a very practical guide here, and how am I supposed to explain what he looks like? All right, let's just take, he has arms, legs, okay? He's a grayish blue color, and he's very unusual. His face is very unusual. It's almost like his head is like a brain, and so it's got all these grooves, and it literally looks like a brain is his head. And his face is kind of long, and then it goes to a point down here. It was very long. And I mean, he does have eyes, nose, and a mouth. He's very skinny and he's long himself. And he doesn't speak, I mean, he's speaking psychically, but he doesn't speak with sound. So when you psychically communicate with him, it's more like a silent awareness, okay? I actually feel he's closer to an incarnate state than the spirit realm. Almost like he is, let's just say he's an incarnate being on a totally different part of the universe, another planet, another dimension of reality, knows your soul knows him, and you just psychically interact. He really likes to be a part of what you're up to. And he's so silent in the way that he speaks. You would be very familiar with communicating like this, and he shows me soft things like baby bunny fur and like the cotton on the dandelion, but even softer than that. It's almost like he shows me these dandelions with these puffs, and they're so ridiculously soft like baby bunny fur. And they're the flower. It's not like a dying flower, it's actually a thriving flower, is when the cotton balls are on top. It's very much reminds me of a Dr. Seuss book where the trees are really strange looking. And he shows me plants that are like this, that are different than our plants. And he wants to say that he speaks with what would be like the sound of, like crystal glasses with water, and then you put your finger around the top and it creates these beautiful harmonies. He feels like he would like to define the way that he communicates sounds like this. And it's like this soft, beautiful, harmonious melody. And he's saying that not everything in life is hard or harsh. There's so many soft things to life. And just to remind you of that is the softness, and how the softness brings balance to who you are. He kind of makes a joke because I say, okay, well, what do you have to do with the initial scene? And it's like, well, it's like the scene was the doorway to me, was it not? And I'm asking him questions about it. Well, is the softness the way that we balance the right and left sides? He's not answering that specific question yet. He's really excited right now. He's really happy because he's finally making a connection. You finally know him, okay? You finally have an access to who he is. He's really excited about this. And he's diverse. I mean, he reminds me, I'm like, are you familiar? Are you like a water guy or an earthy guy? Or, I mean, he's like, I'm everything. he's kind of, he doesn't have a specific relationship to any element. He's everything. But he really wants to really amplify that soft energy, softness. If there could be an element called softness, that would be what he really wants to represent more than anything else, the element of softness, soft things, and how those soft things, or just softness in general, how powerful that is. And he's reminding me, didn't you ask for guidance on how to heal? And he says, explore soft things, soft sounds, soft textures, soft images. And he's really showing me how this circulates a different type of energy throughout your whole body, all your energy systems. I mean, he's using language I'm not familiar with about systems of the body. Almost like we have an energetic circulatory system, and we have a physical circulatory system, but it's more complicated than that. If we actually had doctors, really trained medical doctors that specifically studied the energy field, it would be more than, for instance, what I'm doing here. I'm feeling out energies and I'm altering the vibrational patterns. But you could actually study the building blocks of our energy field. You could actually study it as intricately as right on down to the cells, right on down to it. You would be amazed at what our energy field actually looks like as a science. He's really excited about this. Like, he's really excited to talk about these things because there's so much growth that our race has access to, so much growth. And that's what makes it entertaining, he says. Because when you're in a race where they've grown, they've reached that level, he's kind of attributing it to, okay, let's say you're playing Skyrim, okay? And Skyrim, when you start, you're struggling, all right? And you have to build your character up. You have to build up the skills. And then as you become advanced, you can just wipe out anything you want without blinking an eye, you know? And so once the race is extremely advanced, everything is easy, you know? Everything is free-flowing, is accessible, you know? So that's kind of what entertains him about watching our race, because there's so much opportunity for advancement and it's exciting. It's like ridiculously exciting. And he's okay that we are attracted to being the way that we are. He just really wants to emphasize there's so much more. There's literally so much more. And so let's see what comes next here. Everything is very silent right now. I still experience him here, but he's sort of stepping aside because there's more, all right? And he is kind of indicating that he wouldn't define himself as an incarnate being, although he is part of an incarnate cycle. Because he shows me he's at the top of the tree of his own life, like the tree of life. He's at the top of his own tree of life. And he shows me aspects of himself as a part of the many branches of this tree, and going through. He's funny. He says the word dodo brain lifetimes. He's like, I could be a dodo brain too. But he's saying it like totally harmlessly. He's just talking about incarnate beings that are basically clueless to their complete potential and refusing to open up to the awareness that there's so much here because of insecurities, because of whatever. I have to show off my ego or something like that. He has dodo brain lives too. He says he would like to be defined as the higher self of his many selves. And therefore, to see him as not like an alien being, but actually as a real spirit guide. And he's purposefully stepping out of the way for another guide in order to show me that he is a guide and not just kind of like an alien watching you. His hands are like, yes, I watch you at night. He's kind of really funny like this, but you won't know anything about it because he's showing me the tree and the many other lives and even dodo brain lives that are curious about your race that are watching you. But he's kind of the higher self of all those selves, so you're fine. He's really funny. He's really goofy. Okay, so yeah, so I'm returning to the silence, and this is quite emotional, and I hear the song, The Sound of Silence, and it's a pretty hardcore, like deep, emotionally deep song, and this is really emotionally vulnerable. I mean, it's full of crying, it's full of like what shatters the soul and brings the soul's many selves to the brink of agony. But it's not agony so much as it is painful sorrow and the tears that are shed in this state. And how many lifetimes a soul will express itself through its own sound of sorrow. And it's the sound of silence. In the sound of silence, it's like, oh man, there's so many weird doorways to your soul and the sorrow that your soul has felt. And this guide is really, I'm almost intimidated because this guide is really the keeper of sorrow. Isn't there a Metallica song that's like Harvester of Sorrow? And so there's something very intimidating about this guide because of there's really nothing more or less than what it pronounces as it shows me its body, and inside of its body is sorrow and the many pathways of sorrow, and it is that, okay? It understands it though. I mean, it deeply understands sorrow. It deeply does, because it also contains so many memories of sorrow. And oh man, I'm intimidated by it because I don't want to look into its eyes. If you were to look into the eyes of the Harvester of Sorrow, I mean, on a deep and real level, what would that look like? You know, not like war or not like chaos, or it's the genuine sound of what sorrow sounds like. It's the depth of it. It's the realism of it. Is its eyes, okay? And I don't. Because it's so painful, and it makes my soul remember my own experiences of sorrow. I don't want to look into my sorrow. I don't want to look into the eyes of my own sorrow because it's too painful, okay? And it's also emanating this. So you're wanting to know how to heal. You're going to have to learn how to look into the eyes of your own sorrow, okay? And that's not, it's not like rock and roll. It's more like anybody can be loud. Anybody can be creatively and interestingly so. But to be in the realism, the poetry of your own sorrow is like so raw. It's like we don't want it to be real. It's so raw, we don't want it to be real. And so you have to go into the realism of your own sorrow, the depths of it. You need to know about this guide because it sounds to me like you're going to be introduced to this as a pathway for yourself. If you can look into the eyes of your own sorrow, you can look into the eyes of any soul's sorrow, which means you can step up to the plate and become a powerful healer, like soul retrieval level stuff, you know, like deep soul sorrow, accessing the soul, bringing it back to itself, helping it to reconcile the pain, you know, reconcile the pain. So let's see. He wants me to step into his body. I mean, he's like a huge being. And he has many compartments. And so he wants me to step into all of his compartments, okay? Now this is unexpected. And he's reminding me that I'm you and you are me. So you are also stepping into all of his compartments through me. So I'm guiding us in here. And when you become one with him, you become pure bliss. So this intimidation is only the doorway to pure bliss. So when your soul understands or experiences sorrow, it's actually the doorway to pure bliss. So don't let that pain intimidate you. Embrace it. Embrace your sorrows. Love them. Be grateful for them. And because they are the doorway, the gateway, the path to bliss, to pure bliss. He's male and he's female. On the other side of his male persona, which there's something... All right, in our human race, right, males are oftentimes larger than females, okay? Males represent more like the warrior figure, the protector of the family. Females are softer, smaller, the nurturers, the life bringers, you know? So there's different roles that males versus females represent here in our world. And so he is the male side, is the most intimidating, the largest, the most ruthless, the alpha energy. You don't want to mess with it. Kind of, so it's meant to be intimidating. It's meant to challenge you to face it, okay? Step up, you know? Now, when you move through it, when you step into all the compartments of sorrow and you experience the bliss, you enter into the female side of its identity. This is even more intimidating. I didn't expect that. It's even harder. The male side is like a joke in comparison to the female side, and the male side was no joke, okay? I can't explain why she is even more of a challenge. I feel so much like I've lost all the air in my heart. And let me just acclimate. I tell her I have no idea how to define you, even emotionally, and why you intimidate me more. What if the ego can't interpret how to bring balance to the female? And let's parallel this with the world today, and the pain of the female is also the pain of the male. So the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and the unresolved pain, okay? But it's this, let's just focus on just the divine feminine pain, okay? There's the divine masculine pain, also very real. So we're gonna focus on that. The divine masculine who wants to heal the divine feminine, there's this pain, is at a loss as to how to bring her into balance. And there's this profound sorrow in the divine man in order to heal the divine woman, because when the divine woman is healed, the divine man is healed. Because it has to come into a balance with each other, the yin yang. And there's this ultimate desire to heal her, but an inability to know how. And then she represents this intimidating energy that you'll never be able to make her happy, which is a major conflict. So I experience ego involved in a process that should be simple and for some reason complex. And if you can't make her happy, then that's your greatest failure. That's the best way I could define what this feels like to me. And she is more powerful than you. And I don't know why, other than this is the best way I can follow along as of yet, okay? You'll never make her happy. You'll never make her happy, and that's why she is more intimidating, because you desire that so badly, to make her happy, and you'll never make her happy. So then you'll always be in sorrow. You'll always be at a loss. You'll always be the male, the harvester of sorrow. And so you'll never be able to be in balance with the divine feminine. It's the ultimate suffering of your soul. This is overwhelming for my heart and my throat. A lot. Overwhelming for my heart and my throat. And I'm sure it's overwhelming for the emotional gut. We're probably pulling a lot of that energy into the heart, maybe to make it more tolerable, but it's really profound in the heart, really profound. And the throat is about self-expression. If you can't express yourself in order to make her happy, then you are never going to be happy yourself. So there is a challenge here. Because that is, you feel like it's like, the calling of the warrior is to heal the divine feminine. Is the warrior within you is to heal the divine feminine. And that is the greatest battle of your soul's life. And there is no war involved here, but there is the pain and the suffering of so many wounded. In this major battle and conflict between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And you literally are representing this right now. This is profound. This is really profound. I mean, your soul is advanced to have me explore this request and to access such information as this, okay? All right. You ask if you should withdraw. And maybe you're taking it too seriously. Something like this, okay? You see how the mind is getting in the way? Because you're trying to figure it out. So you need to get back into your heart. Maybe you need to get back into the compartments of sorrow that you feel and cry for her. Maybe what you need to do is cry for her. It's too much sorrow. And you're avoiding the sorrow. It's easier to be the warrior than it is to be the one who cries. It's almost like you harden your heart as a warrior, but when you aren't the warrior, you are in a state of realism with your emotions, and there's a vulnerability to that. And maybe that's what breaks the man into the woman. You know, society and the ego, and the man has to be tough, right? There's a reason why I'm talking about these roles in this way, because you're a girl if you cry, right? What a crybaby. Oh, what a girl, you know? So that breaks down your ego as a strong man. To cry now for the divine feminine makes you a girl, right? So there's something in the ego that is in the way of you being truly, purely the divine masculine of who and what you are. Because I feel you're on a quest to be that. Truly be that. Which then brings you into balance with the divine masculine and divine feminine naturally. And don't feel like you have to figure this out overnight. It feels like it could be a lifetime journey, and it could be quite an adventure for you. And it brings the other guide back in about the softness. Be a man and enjoy the soft bunny fur. Pet the bunny. Enjoy the soft fur. Be a man, you know. And so it's like, be a man and love the things that are not very manly, you know, which makes you more of a man because you are everything, right? Oh man, there is so much in your heart, and your third eye is starting to come out more. in the process. And I mean, I can't explain what all of this heart energy, there's so much of it. They want me to just keep moving forward and just continue to experience the heart energy, because we're allowing it to circulate, we're accessing it, we're welcoming it to feel and express itself. It's going to get hot. I mean, the heart energy is getting ridiculously hot, and it's vulnerable as all get out, but it's strong as all get out as well. And I feel knots, but I feel success, like conquering. I feel so much, and it's getting hot in the heart, okay? Which then it's like the steam is getting into my throat. It's making it just hot in my throat, like it's like hard to breathe, okay? So let's go back to seeing the sorrows as a guide, okay? A guide into the balance of the divine masculine, the divine feminine, and the sorrows that bring us in through the doorway to bliss, okay? And for you to think about this, to look into the eyes of your own sorrow, but to process this, okay, in your own way, all right? Who else? Okay. This is totally different. I don't know if this is a funny guide as well, because all right, there's like a DJ event, like a DJ effect to it, like wicka, 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 like this. And then, but there's nails on the chalkboard, like, like crackling back and forth. And I don't know whether I'm supposed to cringe in pain and say stop, or like laugh hysterically, because there's this like funny parallel with the DJ, okay? So this guy is weird, okay? So what if he speaks in half words? What would it sound like? What would language sound like? Let's like write a sentence like, what is the big red dog jumps over the fence. And now let's cut every word in half and now say the same sentence. What does it sound like? That's how he speaks. He speaks in like wicka, 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 but it's like half chunks of words, and every time there's a word spoken, there's a wall up. A wall on, and it's like breaking apart all this language. So that's what it's like to talk to him. He says that he has to do with communication, but it's fun because he's not teaching you to be like everybody else. He's teaching you how to be different, big time different. And because it's a reminder that the only people who actually change the world are the people who don't do it like anybody else. They're weirdos. So to change the world, you have to embrace being a weirdo, you know, because that's how you encourage change, because you yourself are different. You yourself are not fitting in, okay? And so that's how you become the savior of the world, by helping it break itself down, by bringing itself up to a new level of its own evolution, because you then become the catalyst for that, okay? Catalyst for that. I like to think of Marilyn Manson when it comes to this, because when I was growing up listening to Marilyn Manson, raised as a Catholic, you know, that this was such a conflict to, and there's all this concept, like these, is he the Antichrist? You know what I mean? Because he really was breaking apart people's relationship with religion, and he was getting people to think way outside the box, and he's creating so much controversy and conflict because he's so different. Because nobody can wrap their head around that. He literally is taking a concept out of straight from our fantasy of Satan, and then representing that for us in the physical to get us into a different mindset. Yeah, how weird can you go in order to change the world? You know, you could say that's a bad thing or a good thing, but change is always a good thing, you know? Being different is always a good thing, because it's challenging people, and some people are not going to like that, because a lot of people want to stay in the same, you know, consistent life experience that never changes. But then there's other people that want to access something of truth, okay? And so this guide is different. And so he's encouraging you to embrace what makes you different and vocalize that and have a voice, have a sound to it, okay? Sound seems to be echoing through your session because there's the sound of the crystal with the water, the soft sounds, right? Then the song, like the sound of silence, right? And the harvester of sorrows, right? And now here we are, the sound of your own voice, the sound of what makes you different, right? And Marilyn Manson, obviously a musician. So there's something interesting here about music and you, okay? All right, this is important, and this is really good to look at this. So there's a mirror, and there's like a Wolverine figure or a Freddy Krueger, whichever he wants. But he has a really long claws, and he's cutting through the mirror like it's butter. But the claws are coming towards my face like they're trying to get through to rip me apart, okay? And this is also in connection with this guide that is teaching you to be different. And he reminds me of the scratching on the chalkboard and the sound of the DJ and the disc. Like, whoever thought to do that, you know? Wicca, wicca, wicca. Whoever thought to do that? So we're changing things up. Like, we're doing it differently, okay? So this is coming towards my face. This is also a challenge, and it's challenging you. Like, it's actually like a direct challenge for you to face scary things that you would never have thought, you know, because you haven't been introduced to this level of scary. Maybe you have, but this is scary. This feels like about scary things, okay? Your soul knows a lot about scary experiences, and your soul knows a lot about what you become when you overcome being afraid and how much stronger it makes you, okay? And it's okay. It seems like this is branching off to a new guide that has to do with being a warrior. And it's okay to be afraid. It's literally okay. It's just like a man feeling his emotions and crying is not something to be afraid of, is something to embrace. It's okay to be afraid and to embrace being afraid at that level, because as you grow beyond the fear, you become true to who you are. The fear is only blocking you from being yourself. And so it means that you are afraid to be yourself, which is fine. It's part of the process of becoming stronger. Your soul knows all about this stuff. And it seems like being different guide is connected with this warrior guide when it comes to facing fear. They seem to be kind of intertwining here. As two separate ones that are kind of working together, because maybe maybe there could be some but this feels like fear, like having a nightmare or something, you know, like Freddy Krueger, like a nightmare. Wolverine is not on your side and is now after you this time, you know. It's like, oh crap, it's Wolverine, you know, it's Freddy Krueger. But you can stand up to any of these, and it reminds me of teaching people the difference between the human world and the energy world, where in the energy world you just there's nothing to be afraid of, and whatever wants to intimidate you, you just stand there. Especially if you go neutral, they literally can't arouse any emotion, and then that's really a head scratcher. It drives me nuts when I run across the souls that have no emotional state. It's like, what and who are you? I will get you to feel. I will get you to express yourself emotionally. Neutral. All right, well, fine, then you're a neutral. Neutral is like such a powerful stance against extreme emotions of both sides. But anything that's scary, you know, you can hug it, all right? You can do the opposing side of it, which then neutralizes the energy completely. Or you can just stand there and be completely neutral and not react at all. It takes time to learn how to do stuff like that. It takes experiences and practice. But that's all I can say about this right now. Don't worry too much about what that is. Just let things flow as they're meant to. I don't want you to start worrying that, oh crap, am I gonna have some like freakish nightmares now? No, that's not what this is saying. It's just simply introducing you to more concepts to diversify where you're at and where you're going. Okay, so all right, thank you so much for this experience. It was a lot of fun, and really appreciate the opportunity to work with you, tap into all this, and share with you and others. So I hope you all have a very wonderful day. Thank you all for watching. Take care.